All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, all across the globe, this is another edition of Power Connections with Kevin Vaughan. Man, I tell you, I am so excited to have Randi Bryant on this network today. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been following her on Roland Martin's Unfiltered Network. She is a wonderful, wonderful person, but an awesome professional as well. As we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, today, she is a disruptor. She is a disruptor, guys, I tell you, and we're just excited about that. This is Randi Bryant. And she's what we call the DEI disruptor, and also a speaker, businesswoman, entrepreneur, mentor, I'm sure as well, and all the above. Randi, welcome to Power Connections today. How are you doing, my dear?
Fantastic. I'm happy to be here. I feel very honored that you give me the opportunity to speak with you and your tribe.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Randi. Appreciate you so much. Randi, we always give our wonderful guests an opportunity to open up to say anything. As you know, hey guys, let me tell you first though, we're going to be talking about this affirmative action today, right? Randi is an expert in this area. She has a tremendous background in this area as well, but Supreme Court, real quickly, guys, I want you to pay attention. Supreme Court recently gutted the affirmative action, effective ending race consciousness and emissions, ladies and gentlemen. So we're excited about that. In that area, we got to talk about that. And we want to hear from Randi because she knows about this topic and she's very passionate about this topic too. That's one reason why we want you on too, Randi.
I am passionate about it.
You got that right. You are a disruptor. So we want people to think today, Randi. We want them to think about this, but not only that, but take action. But we got some questions for you later on as we get started. But anything you'd like to say to the network at all? Anything motivational, encouragement? Because there's a lot going on our planet, but we're going to talk about Affirmative Action Day. But anything you'd like to say before we get started? Thank you so much.
Yesterday, I had a good friend say to me,
yeah,
Andy, there's so much going on, so much bad news. It seems as if every day there is an attack on Americans in particular. And it feels as if we are in the middle of a civil war.
Right.
And so, you know, she was feeling quite candidly despair and fear. And she said, are things ever going to get better? And I said, absolutely. I 100% feel as if things will get better, which is why we are seeing all of the disruption now. If things were not changing for us, then those against us would not be fighting so hard. If they didn't know that Black people are rising, then they would not be creating laws and changing voting districts and showing outright violence if things weren't changing. So absolutely, a change is going to come. Right. In the meantime, just as with our own personal lives, it feels chaotic. It feels stressful. It feels overwhelming right before that change happens. Right when you feel as if I can't take no more is when we start to see the clouds separate. So yes, I do believe that a change is going to come.
Absolutely. I am with you on that because we are resilient people. First of all, I'm talking about people of color all across the globe. We do not give up. We can go back thousands of years if you want to do that. And guess what, folks? If you look at the history, we keep rising. We keep moving. The next generation says, I ain't tolerating that. The next generation says, I ain't tolerating this either. So we keep rising. So Randi, thank you so much for that. And guys, you got to stay engaged. You got to stay involved, but most of all, you got to understand what's happening, okay? So you just don't let it happen to you. You got to know what's happening, right? So powerful. I know you know that for sure, Randi. You teach that on the network. And guys, once again, this is Power Connections with my wonderful guest, Randi Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. She is a DEI disruptor. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, guys, we got to tell you what DEI is all about, guys, is for diversity, inclusion, and the last one, Randi,
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yep, inclusion. There you go. So thank you so much. Yeah, so I get excited about that. So Randi, let's dive right into this area. The Supreme Court guts the affirmative action, effective ending race emissions and so forth. So what we got to understand is what this means. What does this really mean? Please tell us what this means.
So what it means is that, well, let's just talk about affirmative action in the first place. And there's been so much wrong information that's been put out there about what affirmative action is for years, to the point that I found a lot of people of color embarrassed about affirmative action because we were taught that it was as doing us a favor, like it was charity, and that was not the case. Affirmative action came in play to fix a problem. The problem was that you would see at most universities and colleges, very few people of color, particularly African Americans. You would not see us present. One reason is because there is a thing called legacy admissions. That means colleges like Harvard will let people in because they have had a family member attend that college, which of course, due to the history of Black Americans in America, our great-grandfather could not, was not allowed to attend Harvard University. So already there was an imbalance there. There also is favor given to, and this is current, this exists currently and has always existed, to large donators. So if your parents bought the library there or gave a huge donation, of course, they're going to favor you for admissions, okay? So these two tracks, which completely leaves us out of, made it where it was impossible for us to get in these colleges. On top of, we must own that people have biases, correct? So the biases that exist and just the legacy of our history has made it where we don't have access to the same schools. Most schools, I mean, they say the real segregation is seen even after Brown versus Board of Education is seen in the classrooms based on where we live. The different, so we get a different education. The disparity in the amount of money that is spent at a school that is primarily people of color versus a school that's primarily white is depressing. If people, it's startling if you were to see it. We don't have access to these special schools and tutors that pay for us to learn how to take tests, standardized testing. We don't have the legacy of having parents oftentimes that have attended college, right? So we don't have someone to inform us what we need to do in order to go to college. We also sometimes don't have the opportunity to volunteer, something they look at what you've done outside of, because we're working, right? A lot of high school students are working to help support the family. And this is a very real situation. So what affirmative action said is, because of all of this, because of our history, because of our current biases, we are going to ensure that we have efforts made to include students of color. Okay, affirmative action also, let me just say, it wasn't just about Black people, it was about people with disabilities, and no one has benefited more from affirmative action than white women, because it was about women. And so that's what it was about. It was saying it was there to fix a problem. So that's important for people to know.
Powerful, Randi. Thank you so much. That's powerful.
What happened with the decision now? So what is my take on affirmative action? What's happening now? My take is that people like Judge Roberts declared essentially that we live in a colorblind society. They assert that there is no longer any racism. It is an equal playing field for all. And so it is dangerous to consider race when making decisions of admittance into colleges. So that's scary, because here we have a country, right, that was founded on the race being different. The only way they were able to justify the founding fathers, because there were a lot of people who were against slavery, the only way they were able to justify it was to say, Black people are actually less than people, white people are superior. That's how capitalism came into play. So the separation of races is within and throughout our entire, the fabric of this country, and exists in every area today, whether it be what we get charged for loans, how the police treat us, the justice system, all of it. But now what the Supreme Court says is, no, there is no differences in race. It does not exist. So affirmative action is not at all needed. We live in a colorblind society. So if you want to know my take on it, it is one, absolutely convenient to say race only exists when it works for you.
Right.
But when there was a law where it worked for us just a little bit, because let me say, when you look on these Ivy Leagues, you're seeing a population of Black people around 5-6%. So it's not as if there was tons of us anyway, even with affirmative action.
Right.
So it says that we are willing,
Mm-hmm.
we are dedicated to denying America's painful history in order to make ourselves feel comfortable. We're going to deny that the history exists, and we're going to deny that the present situations exist. We are going to pretend that this is a country that we've always aimed for it to be, but does not yet exist.
That's dangerous. Dangerous.
That's the part that's very dangerous, but that is what they have said. So it allows people now, when you are doing admissions and when you decide who comes into the college or university, for there to be no consideration of diversifying the student body. And I just want to say, having a diverse student body doesn't just help. I mean, you're supposed to be an area of higher learning. You want diversity. You want to learn from other people. It does not behoove white people to be in all white environments. Excuse me, because the country's demographics are changing.
That's right.
So in the end, it'll hurt them.
Right, exactly. That's powerful. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Randi Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. She's a DEI's disruptor. We're talking today about the Supreme Court guts affirmative action, effectively ending race consciousness and emissions, guys. And we're very serious about this one. I want you guys to pay attention. This affects your children that are currently in school. They're going to affect your grandchildren that are going to go to school. And Randi, one thing I wanted to talk, I'm going to use me. Okay, I'm going to use me real quickly, guys, just because I can use me. My background is engineering, right? Engineering, electronic engineering technology, right? I have a BS degree in that from Savannah State. What I'm concerned about, Randi, I want to ask you about is that if I have the grades, I mean, I got the top grades, right? I got the top grades. I'm good enough to be in any firm in the nation, right? That has a job opening, right? And I apply for that job. I don't want to hear nothing about no affirmative action. Do I qualify? The answer is yes. How come I'm not hired? I want to understand, is that going to be an issue with that area? People going to make decisions, even though I'm qualified, they still say, well, Mr. Vaughan doesn't need to be here with us today. Is that possible, Randi, that can happen?
Quite frankly, yes. That's another thing that's important that I point out about affirmative action, and I should have said it earlier. Affirmative action is not about getting people that are not qualified.
Okay.
They're not allowing and admitting people of color, Black people, into colleges and universities that were not qualified. As a matter of fact, let's make this very clear. The graduation rates at Ivy Leagues as a whole is the highest among Black students. Okay? Highest among Black students. So when we get in there, we perform. If we were not performing, so the fact that we're able to perform shows that we were qualified. What it says is we go out and make an attempt to find these people, because sometimes we are not aware of access.
That's right.
We don't have the fast track. So if my uncle went to Harvard, of course I have a different fast track. So this says we're going to spend a little bit more time looking for those qualified people.
Gotcha.
And what it means is that we admit that we have biases.
Gotcha.
And it frustrates me so much, because there's a large part of people, the majority population, that really wants to deny. I don't see color. I don't see race. Well, of course you do. We all do. We see race and gender immediately from a baby. It's the first two things a baby notices, actually. And so what it does, and I tell people, I remember I was hiring at the last company that I was doing some work for, and a sister was interviewing for the job. She had gone to Hampton University undergrad. I went to Tuskegee. Both my sons were at Hampton. I grew up on Hampton's campus. My mom went there. We were in the same sorority. I mean, there was so much about this sister that we had in common that, of course, my bias was to hire her because I could see myself working with her. I felt comfortable with her. I wanted her there. And so I had to be honest that I am biased towards this person.
Yes.
Well, if 72% of college presidents are white men, and going down on looking at professors and things, of course, they are choosing and selecting people and admissions boards that are similar to them, that remind them of themselves, their cousins, their children. And so there's bias there. So you have to have affirmative action.
Gotcha.
So yes, if there's not something in place that essentially forces you, that says, no, I want to have at least 5% of my staff or my college admissions to have some diversity, we don't do it naturally. We don't perform in a way that allows us to choose difference. None of us do. I tell people, none of us do, right? If you walk into a place and you see a group of Black people and a group of non-Black people, where are you going to trend towards most of the time?
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person.
No.
But if someone tells you, you know what, Kevin, to put you in a power position, to make yourself better, to help your career, you really need to deal with some diversity. You really need to do it. You're going to go do it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's affirmative action. But now with this Supreme Court ruling, and let me just say this is just for schools. This is not for businesses, but does it trickle down? Yes, it has trickled down. We can talk about that if you, but yes, it's going to be a problem.
Wow, I love it. Hey guys, if you're just joining us across the network, this is Power Connections. My wonderful and beautiful guest and talented and genius. She's brilliant. Guys, Miss Randi Bryant, ladies and gentlemen, she's a DEI disruptor. And we're talking about the Supreme Court's gutting the affirmative action system, guys. And we're just excited about this area because it's so important that we pay attention. We got moms, we got teachers, and we got dads and family members. You guys, you must pay attention. You must share this out as well. But before we move on, Randi, I want to give a commercial break because I want people to know how to get in touch with you because we did not get a chance to go over your bio, but that awesome bio is on your website. Now, how can people get in touch with you on your today for those who wish to do that? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I am at randib.net, RANDIB.net. On Instagram, I'm Randi__B. And Facebook, I'm Randi B. On TikTok, I'm the Randi B. Just do Randi B, you'll find me somehow.
Exactly.
I look forward to meeting you all.
Amen. Yeah, just Google her, guys. Hey, while I'm thinking about too, Randi, I want to encourage everybody, if you got a television network, a digital television network or standard television network, or if you got podcasts, guys, you got all kind of radio networks, whatever, I want you guys to invite Randi to talk about this topic, or whatever topic you guys wanted to talk about, but I want you to invite her on your platforms, okay, guys? Your social media.
Absolutely, I love it.
Oh, no doubt about it. Social media, television, podcast, radio, whatever, speaking engagements. You have to book her for that, guys, but go to her website for that. She mentioned earlier, that's Randi, that's RANDIB, as in Baker, .net. That's her website where you can book her for speaking engagements across the network as well. So we're excited about that as well. So Randi, I'm excited. So Randi, what is on this topic, the one we just talked about, how does this affect mom and dad? How does it affect the family today? We're talking about, I'll start at the high school level and beyond. How does it affect us and what should we be doing?
Well, what we should realize is that a lot of private schools, even though they don't have to, may just, they're going to drop their efforts sometimes to push diversity. And that is, and so, at this time, most schools would look for kids, students of color. So it could cause problems there. It's more concerning for me when it comes to the college age kid. What's going to happen? So affirmative action was banned in California back in 1996, I believe. And so that's a good area to look at and see what happened. When that happened, the University of California schools, seeing Black students plummeted. What they have since done to try to make things a little bit better is they're now doing diversity based on social economics. What makes me uncomfortable about that. And North Carolina just yesterday said that they are, University of North Carolina, if you make less than $80,000, they will allow you to come to school for free. Beautiful. I love it. One thing that annoys me about that is it comes with the assumption that only Black people and all Black people are living below in poverty, right?
Right.
Which is kind of insulting, right? I mean, yes, we do have higher rates due to our history here, but that is not where, all of us are. And there are plenty of other races that are, stuck, it goes back to that only Black people are on welfare thing, right? Which there's many more white people on.
Right.
The second thing is that where does that leave middle class Black students, right? They now will even be further pushed to the side, because if their race is not considered whatsoever, and they have to be below a certain socioeconomic level, then how do they even get into play? How is it work for them? And I know, and then I know in California, I just moved from there. I was there for 17 years. What a lot of white parents did is that they emancipated their children, so the child's income would be considered. So they would be considered living. They would qualify to get that. But no, we don't sometimes don't know these tricks that people are utilizing.
Absolutely.
So yes, it's going to have huge problems. My son just graduated from Hampton University, praise God, and he is looking to go to graduate school to get an MBA next year. And I'm very worried. But he wants to go to a top 10 school. His dad told him he should. And before, I felt confident. He has great grades. He has he's right now working for Bloomberg in New York. He has a great, he has a great resume. But now, if even if you're looking at numbers, if we're talking about, we're not considering race. I mean, we're 13% of the population, right? And so, how do we win if we're just going against pure numbers? And so, I am extraordinarily worried, to be quite candid with you. And this is a young man who graduated, very high in his class, got awards, good, but I don't know if he could get into a top 10 school if they are not at all considering race.
Absolutely. Wow. That's amazing, Randi. That's amazing. Guys, hey, if you're just joining us, this is Power Connections. Kevin Vaughan, my beautiful and awesome guest today, guys. Randi B as Bryant, ladies and gentlemen, Randi Bryant. She is a DEI disruptor. We're talking about the Supreme Court gutting the affirmative action program, ladies and gentlemen, around the country. Randi, as you was talking, I was thinking about how organizations and businesses or whatever are going to be thinking about cutting costs. This could give them a reason to cut costs in these areas. Does that make sense? I heard that a little bit on some other talk that people can look at. If you're a business, you're trying to cut costs. If you can cut costs in this area legally, you're going to do it probably. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And not just cut costs. I don't think that's the bigger issue. I think it's safely do it as far as public opinion. Some companies are thinking, okay, it's not cool anymore. Diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are at companies because of, let's just say, pure pressure, because of the marketing of it. I mean, not all of them. Let me not say all of them. Companies like Ben & Jerry's that does great work, Benefit Cosmetics, great work. But I mean, a lot of them are in it for how it looks. And so now, the day after affirmative act, the ruling came down, banning affirmative action, race-based admissions, four DEI leads at major companies like Verizon, Warner Brothers were gone that day. Like they were gone. Verna Davis, who was the queen of this, they left. Now, I don't know if they were asked to leave, if they wanted to leave, but there's already turnover. If you look at the number of jobs, and I've been in this field for over 25 years, after George Floyd was brutally murdered, you could not find enough DEI professionals. People were calling saying, Randi, do you know anyone? Now, people are losing jobs on a daily basis. That commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion has somehow disappeared. And it's a shame, because this is it. If diversity, equity, and inclusion should be something that should never be cut. You should absolutely want a workforce that is diverse and in all ways, right?
Exactly.
Equity, to say you want everybody to have what they need to get the job done, should be a pretty non-arguable factor that you want in your company. And inclusion, what inclusion means is, does this person feel as if they belong? When we talk about a hostile workplace, if you're coming to work and you feel as if you could be discriminated against because of the way your hair grows out of your head, because you wore a kente cloth shirt, a dashiki, because you spoke on Juneteenth, because you spoke about your activities in the Black Lives Matter movement, that you could be fired. That is not feeling included. If you're not invited to certain things, if you're a Black woman or man who sits there and simply just your face resting, but because you're not smiling, you're being told that you have a bad attitude or you're hard to a person is not going to feel included. And how do we function when we don't feel included? We expand, we get brighter, we get better when we feel as if we're included, as if we're appreciated. If we don't have that, we're just quietly churning through the day. And so every company, it should be the second most important thing. They shouldn't want to run a company where those three things don't exist. I will question any company that is not prioritizing it. But I'm gonna be honest, most companies weren't anyway. They hire one person and give them no power. They make underrepresented, marginalized people do all the work. I always tell people, does anyone see what a sham that is? That the people that are underpaid, underrepresented, and marginalized are the ones that must gather, basically take on a second job, not get paid for it, trying to make change in a company. That oh man, that's amazing. That's a scam.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to pay attention, Randi. We got to pay attention to what's going on. That's why we got to have you telling us what's going on out there as well. And it's here.
It's the real deal. I'm gonna tell you the real deal.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, this is Power Connections, and the reason why we have Randi Bryant on, folks, because she's a power player in this area. As we talk about the affirmative action cut by the Supreme Court, it's actually a ripple effect across the whole network, guys. And that means not only education, but also business and workplace and all that good stuff as well. But Randi, one thing I wanted to ask you, because I know there's some of our professionals out there that have children and get ready to go to school. They want to know, well, what's our strategic? You got to have a strategic plan today, as you know. Can you give us a couple of pointers on strategic planning, what they need to consider, what they need to look for, if you don't mind?
One, say, just as a defense, we need to start putting pressure on these schools to ensure that they are respecting diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'll give an example. I don't know if you saw what's just been happening at Texas A&M.
Yeah,
and they invited a sister to be a part of the board and be a part, and have basically rescinded the offer for the most part. Made the offer where it would just be terrible to take, because of the fact that she had written about race, because she was a proponent of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I mean, that's a bad thing. So what's happening, I know you saw probably Roland Martin, but other alumni are saying, if this continues, if you don't fix this, we're not giving any money. And we advise all of our players, our football players, basketball players, track, not to attend the school. Which you do understand that football and basketball make the majority of the money at these universities, right? They depend on usually our Black bodies bringing in money. And so we have to figure out how to, if affirmative action at the court is not going to make it where it's mandatory, we have to think about how we make it mandatory. When it comes to companies, ask them, how many Black people do you have on your board? How many Black executive staff do you have? When it comes to schools, if they come and they want your child to play for them, if your child is an athlete or whatever, what does the makeup look like? I mean, I don't want my child to be one of only. Do you have an aggressive program where you're ensuring that there's a diverse student, faculty, and faculty? Always question, what are you doing when it comes to DEI? So we have to now take the responsibility of pushing people. Look and see what students, what schools are doing. Because let me tell you this, although the Supreme Court banned it, colleges and universities have the choice to say, we are dedicated to it, to continue with race-based admissions, and be prepared just to fight whatever happens in court. People do it all the time.
Yep.
You know, they say this is what it should be. So if they're dedicated, and if we see schools who are willing to do that and show their dedication, then those are the schools we go to. Let the other schools deplete. Because it's nothing without us.
Right.
We must recognize our own power, our own brilliance, and what we give to every organization we're a piece of. And so the ones who aren't being open, close the door. That's okay.
Right.
Let us close the door and go to the HBCUs. I would say, you know, the HBCUs, you know, I know Hampton has its biggest class coming in ever in the history. This year, and I think that's going to continue.
Yes, it is. I believe so too.
People need to really start giving a lot of money to HBCUs.
Yes.
I believe that people who have already graduated, that and from schools that are majority white, PWIs, they need to put pressure. What is your plan? What are you doing?
Right.
I love you. I went to your school, but I will pull my money if you're telling me that someone who looks like me, that my son, my daughter, my cousin, my nephew and nieces will have a hard time getting into this school. Then I will no longer support you.
Right.
We have to, we know how to boycott.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
I love it.
We have to do it with schools that we even love. We have to put the pressure on them to do right.
Absolutely. That's what we call that check and balance system, Randy. That's basically what it is, a check and balance system. Guess what, guys? The Constitution says we the people, okay, not we the system. It's we the people. We are responsible for ourselves. So guys, we got to make sure that every family out there listening right now, I want you to get involved, guys. But Randy, they got to ask a lot of questions too. And you got to find out people who know what they're talking about, like Randi Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you guys to contact her for all these questions because we can't answer everything in the next few minutes here. So we want to make sure you get in touch with her. She's on Facebook. That's Randi. That's RANDI Bryant on Facebook and Instagram. Her wonderful website, guys, is randib.net. That's RANDI.net. Okay, you guys can send a message there and say, hey, Randy, I need to learn a little bit more about what's this affect, how it's going to affect my family, and she'll be glad to get back with you guys respectively there. Randy, this is so awesome and powerful. We got about maybe 10 more minutes or less, so I want to make sure I give you some final thoughts in this area, and I can't wait, Randy. We got to have you back periodically just to keep us up to date on what's going on. So
I would love it. You know, my tagline is awareness, love, and unity. And awareness is I really try to focus on it because a lot of times we don't know. We're busy. We have a lot going on, and who has time? And there's a lot I don't know. Let me just say, but this I do. This I do, and I pay attention to what's happening in the country. And so right now, what I believe is happening in the country, because, I believe people look at us in awe and say, how are they still rising in spite and not just rising, but thriving. And so what laws can we create? And there have been other laws besides this affirmative action law. We can look at like voting redistricting, like what can we do in order to slow this down, to slow the power down, to make it where they're not as strong. And so we really need to be aware of things like this affirmative action, because it can affect things so greatly. And so we need to do as we have always done. And when they block us in one way, we create 5 others.
Absolutely. I love it. Hey guys, I'm so excited about too, Randy. Hey, if you won't let me in your business, I'll go start my own business. Okay, very simple.
Absolutely, I'll start my own business.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are apps like Glassdoor where you rate people's businesses. If a business is not diverse, equitable inclusion, put them down. You do it anonymously.
Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, people pay attention to those ratings. So just like you go to a restaurant and don't have a good experience.
Right.
Let people know that this is not a job you need to go to if you're a person of color or in any way are marginalized in any way, because they don't want that reputation. So you have to think about the pain center of others. They
Right.
they don't lose anything by us cussing them out. I
Nope.
know we want to sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they
Exactly.
don't lose anything. I
Right.
always tell people, if you're in a hostile environment, take notes about everything that's happening, notes, dates, times, people,
Yeah.
record an email. So, there's a record of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I would say, don't go out in a rush, go out in a blaze, like let people know. So there is a record of what's happened, and ensure other people know, because no company wants the reputation of not being kind to employees. And so instead of just telling your best friend about what you're going through, the world know.
Exactly. That's powerful, Randi. I love it. Hey, guys, we have the power, but you got to open your mouth, guys. We've got to open your mouth. I would say open it up professionally so you can, be kind to people, of course, out there, folks. But
of course,
the goal is to get your stuff done. Get stuff done. Take action. Get knowledge, right? Information, understanding, and then go about your business, guys, and take care of it. Call your state representatives, your congressman, your House of Representatives. Call those people. Let them know how you feel about a certain thing as well. Hey, guys, this is Power Connections with Randi Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. She is the DEI Disruptor. And we were talking about affirmative action that the Supreme Court has ruled down on. And we're just excited about her giving us a professional look about this today. Hey, real quickly, before we give it over to Randi for final thoughts, we want to know she is on Facebook, guys, under Randi Bryant on Facebook and on Instagram. And her wonderful website is Randi, that's RANDIB.net. That's her website, guys. I want you guys to blow that up real quickly as well. Also, too, share this out on your platforms, guys, because this information is so important. I want at least 2,000 or 3,000 folks, Randi, to see this in the next few months or less, so they can understand what is going on and what they need to be paying attention to as well. This is Power Connections. Randi, any final thoughts before we let you go?
I talk a lot about unity. And when we are, in some ways, by some people being attacked, it is more important that we unite. It does not mean we have to agree. It does not mean that we even have to like each other.
Nope.
But there's power in being united.
That's right.
Cause to uplift.
That's right.
And I preach that all the time. It's what I'm dedicating my life, the rest of my life to, is talking about ways that we can unite. If you don't mind me plugging one thing, I made these truthing cards, and there are 100 cards that I have created, discussion cards that I've created specifically for Black people to have discussions like I used to have across the kitchen table, the dining room table with my family. And we know families are diverse. We have our family is made up of all types of people. And it allowed me to hear different perspectives. It allowed me to just really grow. And it allowed us to unite as a family. These are on Amazon.com if people are interested. But even if you don't want to get the cards, just go back to talking to one another, and more than about like what happened with Kiki and Usher this weekend. Interesting. To talk about, some real, like, how do you feel about affirmative action? That's actually one of the questions in here before this. But us getting back to having those conversations as families, as friends, as co-workers, to learn from each other, to grow and to unite. So it really is us about us coming together, because right now I do believe we're all we have.
You got that right, Randi. You got that right. And you're absolutely right, guys. Hey, guys, Randi mentioned something real quickly. Hey, my left hand may not like my right hand, but guess what? They're going to stick together, that's for sure. On the body, right? So that's what you're talking about, guys. We have to love each other, all parts of our body, which is our body of believers, if you will, in what we call the human race, right? The human kind, if you will. And that's what we're all about. So, Randi, we got your back on the network here. We got your back on this network for sure. So please know that for sure. Hey, guys, we got to get understanding. We got to get knowledge, but also we have to understand impact. Randi, I love people get to understand. They always want to ask why. Well, let me tell you why this needs to happen or why this shouldn't happen. You need to understand that. And folks are just letting stuff happen, but don't know the impact. And next thing you know, you lost your house. You didn't even know it was going to happen, So you got to know stuff, guys. So I want to encourage everybody to do the research, guys. You need to get in touch with Randi Bryant on Facebook, Instagram, and on her website, guys, and call her and talk to her and ask her to come to your network to educate your people. Okay, her website, guys, lastly, is Randi, that's RANDIB, as in blessed, That's Randi
I
B.
like that.
Dot
I
net.
like that.
I
Raised
love
as
it,
a
man. That's
blessed.
how I remember stuff, Randy.
I'm stealing that, Kevin, just so you know, I'm stealing it.
Oh yeah, you're a powerful Black woman, no doubt about that right there. That's why we got you on. That's why we call this thing Power Connections, so we get the powerful people on here. Sure. Well, Randi, thank you so much for your time today. I know we got to let you go. And guys, we thank you so much for listening as well. I want everybody on the planet to push this out, right? Because I want everybody to hear about Randi's information and knowledge and background in this area. She has over 30 years of this area, and we're just excited about that, folks. But we got to get the right people at the right place to help us grow and know what's going on. Because if we don't do it, folks, stuff will just run right over you. And you're going to wonder what happened. It's going to be too late. We can't let that happen. And I believe, Randi, we will not let that happen either on our watch.
That's not who we are.
Amen. That's great. Well, Randi, again, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you so much. Give love to your family, and we look forward to having you back in the future. All right. Hey, guys, we're going to leave you with this real quickly. Remember to always out love, out serve, and out forgive each other. And remember, Jesus is Lord. And remember that there's nothing you can't do, guys, with the right information, the right knowledge, and the right tenacity. I know I love that word, tenacity, Randi. I think you got that. I saw that on Roland Martin. I said, man, this sister got some tenacity on what she's doing. So you guys got to have tenacity today, but know what you're talking about, right? At the same time. All right. Randi, thank you so much again for your time. God bless you.